right, in this video, we are going to practice invoicing a billable expense with a markup. The exercise is going to be over here on the right-hand side, and this is pulled directly from our advanced level ProAdvisor certification course. If you would like more information about that course after we go through the exercise, there is a link below in the description. Feel free to click on that. But let's read through our scenario for today. Kate has contracted with Craig's Landscaping Services to do some work in her yard. She decides she wants a rock fountain with a cherub. Craig sells rock fountains all the time, but the cherub is an unusual request. He will have to buy it from Tim Philip Masonry and then add it to Kate's bill. He plans to charge her 10% more than he originally paid. So, how do we set this up? Let's find out. You will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. Now, if you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link below in the description. I have the sample company pulled up here on the left-hand side. This is what we are going to be working in throughout this exercise. So let's go ahead and get started. First, you will need to turn on markup. This is the amount Craig will charge over and above what he paid for the items. So to do that, we need to click on the gear icon and then select Account and Settings. The gear icon is up here on the top right corner of the sample company. Click on that. And then under your company, select Account and Settings. We want to get into the expenses area, so we want to click in the expenses tab. That's over here on the left-hand side. It says expenses, click on that. And when you do, you will see these couple of options here. Now we need to click in the bills and expenses section to make it editable. So just click anywhere in here, or you can click on that pencil icon. Either one is totally fine. We want to click on the checkbox next to markup with a default rate and then type 10 in the percentage field. So that is right here. Click on that checkbox next to markup with a default rate of, go ahead and delete that and put 10 for 10%. Now we can go ahead and save this. Click on the green save button. And now we can go ahead and click on done. That is down here on the bottom right-hand corner of the sample company. And those settings have now been saved. Now that the markup is set up, it's time to record the original purchase from Tim Philip Masonry. We're going to click on the plus new button and then select expense. The plus new button is up here on the top left corner of the sample company. Go ahead and click on that, and then under vendors, go ahead and select expense. Now, when this shows up for us, we need to fill it out. In the payee field, we want to select Tim Philip Masonry. So go ahead and click on that down arrow, or you can start typing in his name. Either way is fine. I'm going to scroll down until I find his name. It is right here. Once you have his name, go ahead and select it. Now you will notice here that if you are if you're completing this exercise in a new session of the sample company, you're going to click add to add the previous purchase order to the expense. So here is a little pop-up, and this is the one that we want to add. Now, if you're in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercise in, which if you want to do that exercise, I'm going to put a link up here on the top corner of the screen. If you are doing that same exercise and you're now doing this one in the same session of the sample company, the rock fountain will already be populated from the previous exercise in here, so you can just proceed to the next step. But if you are like me and this is a new session of the sample company, you want to go ahead from this pop-up drawer, this purchase order, we want to go ahead and add it. Click on add, and now that has moved over here into the item details grid. And that is because the rock fountain is an inventory item, and so that's why it's in the item details grid versus the category details grid. On the rock fountain line in the billable field, we want to click on the checkbox. So click into it. You may need to click 2 times in order to actually select checking that billable checkbox. And you'll notice that the markup percentage will automatically be calculated at 120%. Now, this comes from the products and services table for this particular item. On the same line in the customer field, we need to select Kate Whalen so that we can have these connected. So you want to scroll over if you need to. If your sample company is the whole page, you may not need to. But in this same line on the customer field, you want to click into it. You can go ahead and select the down arrow and scroll down until you find her, or you can start typing in her name. Either way is perfectly fine. Next, we will record the purchase of the cherub. Since this is not a regular inventory item that Craig buys and sells, it will not be in the products and services list and therefore not be available in the items grid. So we will need to use the category details grid for this instead. So in the category details grid, on the first line in the category field, we want to select the expense account, fountain, and garden lighting. So that is in this one right here. Go ahead and click into it. You can either start typing fountain or you can scroll down to find it. Now, if you are typing in fountain, and you will get here two different options. One that says fountain, no S, and garden lighting, and the one that says fountains and garden lighting. Be sure to use the one that is without the S, the one that is not the plural one, this one, as this is the expense account. If you accidentally use the similarly titled one, this one, then it is the income account and you'll receive an error message. So make sure you select the one that says fountain and garden lighting. Once you have it, go ahead and select it. And as an aside here, in real life, if you have accounts that are named very similarly, highly recommend changing it so that you can very easily distinguish the difference between an expense account or an income account, even if it's for something a similar type item. Definitely change it so that it's easier for you to select and know which one you need. In the description field, let's type cherub. So click into that field, type cherub. In the amount field, we want to type $100. That's right here. I'm sorry, my columns are not really lining up here, but in the amount field, go ahead and click into it and type 100. We need to check the billable field. So click on that checkbox under billable. And know that the markup for this is 10%. And this comes from that setting in the accountant settings that we set up at the beginning of the exercise. So in the customer field, we want to once again select Kate. So click on the down arrow and you can scroll, or you can click into it and start typing her name. Either way is perfectly fine. Once you find her, go ahead and select her name. And now we're simply going to save and close this. So click on the green Save and Close button down here on the bottom right corner of the sample company, and that expense has now been saved. Finally, we will want to create the invoice for Kate Whalen. So we need to click on the plus new button and then select invoice. That again is up here on the top left corner. Click on plus new and then under customers, select invoice. When this appears for us, we need to fill it out. The customer field needs to be Kate. So click into it. You can go ahead and either start typing her name or you can scroll down to find it. Once you do, go ahead and click on her name. Her information is going to appear for you. And you'll notice that as soon as you clicked on her name, that there are two items that popped up in the drawer on the right-hand side. To add these to the invoice, we want to click on Add All. These are the two billable expenses that we just created in that expense for Tim Philip Masonry. So let's go ahead and click on Add All. And now they have moved over here onto the invoice. Now you'll notice that the cherub does not connect with a product service. Notice too that QBO indicates the markup but says the customer will not see that. So there is, because this was not a this is not an item that is in the products and services. It's not something that Craig usually buys and tracks. So there is nothing that is showing up right here, and that is what it means when it does not connect with a product or service. Here you can also see your customer won't see this. So we know that it is not, it is something that we are seeing, that markup, but we are not actually going to be seeing it on the invoice. So to confirm what the client will see on the black bar, let's click on Printer Preview and then select Printer Preview again. That's down here on that black bar, click Print or Preview. And then from the drop down here, go ahead and click on Printer Preview again. That invoice has been saved. And the print preview now shows that the customer will only see the marked up prices. So I'm going to scroll in here and you can see here is Rock Fountain and here is the Cherub. And it is showing here just the total amount. It is not showing that markup that you have done for Craig. So this is all good. We're going to exit out of it. To do that, you'll want to click on close. I know my video screen is covering it, but there is a close down here on the bottom left corner. Click on close to get out of that preview. And then we're going to click on the down arrow next to save and send and select save and close. That is down here on the bottom right corner of the sample company. Click that down arrow. And just before I click on save and close, just so you know, in a real life scenario, you absolutely can do save and send and it will go directly to the customer. In the sample company, you can't actually send out invoices. So for our exercises, we always do save and close. So go ahead and click on that save and close right there. And now that invoice has been saved, and that is how you invoice a billable expense with a markup. Now, if you like this exercise and you want to do more like it, or you would like more information about that advanced level ProAdvisor certification course, be sure to click on the link below in the description, and I will see you in the next exercise.